Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will study the effect of the hypoxia at high altitude. So when you ascend and go to high mountain area, what are the changes which occur in your body? What are the effects of the hypoxia and the high altitude on the other on whole of the body, including the different organs, including the heart, brain, and other organs, how they respond? I have already covered the hypoxic condition changes occurring in the body when you can have any type of the hypoxia, what changes occur in the body. As you go to the hilly area, the first thing that you have to face, that is the hypoxic condition. So I have already introduced this terminology and gave an idea about the sign and symptom and its treatment. But here we will discuss in much more detail this topic regarding the high altitude, how you are going to define it. So almost 1500 to 3500 meters height is included in the high altitude, while 35 to 5500 meters we can say very high altitude, and above that the extreme altitude. There are certain normal physiological changes occur in every person who goes to the high altitude. The most important and the first thing, that is the hyperventilation. There is increase in the respiratory rate, shortness of the breath during exertion, change breathing pattern at night, awakening frequently at night, increased urination. And because of the increased urination, you have sleep disturbances at night also. The first and most important thing, that is there is change in the respiratory rate and the respiratory process as you are facing the decrease in partial pressure of the oxygen. The first and most important thing, that is the carotid aortic bodies, that are the peripheral chemoreceptors, they are stimulated. They send impulses to the respiratory center, and through that there is increase in the ventilatory rate and increased performance. So the first and immediate thing is the increase in the respiratory rate to compensate the low pressure of the oxygen at high altitude. Now we will discuss the acute and chronic response, and you can say the acute and chronic mountain sickness. If you have any question regarding the acute and chronic mountain sickness, you will answer in this way. Acute includes the immediate response, and chronic when you stay at high altitude for days, weeks or months. Then what changes occur? And the third category is the resident of that place. What are the changes that have these residents which are living at high altitude or hilly areas? Firstly, we will discuss the acute and chronic response. Again, the first change occur to the respiratory system. Kindly, I request you to concentrate this lecture more thoroughly, because this is the summary of whole of the chapter. So instead of reading the whole chapter from your textbook, it is better that you concentrate only this one lecture, so that it will cover the whole of the chapter. So regarding the acute response, or you can say the acute mountain sickness, the first and most important change occur in the respiratory pattern and respiratory rate. There is increased breathing rate, decreased pulmonary diffusion, But in the chronic response, there is not, regarding the respiratory system, there is not so much gross difference between the acute and chronic response. Is only just a few things, that blood tissue diffusion gradient remains decrease and saturation further decrease, but almost the response remains the same for the acute and the chronic. Regarding the cardiovascular system, there is slightly submaximal stroke volume, increase submaximal heart rate, and all these changes occurring acutely and chronic stage. Now comes the hematological and other metabolic changes, and we have some difference between the acute and chronic response. In the acute response, there will be decreased plasma volume, while in the chronic response, you have the increase from acute stage but remains decrease. And also regarding the viscosity, in the acute response, you have the increased viscosity, you can see, but in the chronic, no change or maybe less viscous than acute stage. All the changes which are occurring in your body, I will discuss in their baseline also later on, and how you can manage all these changes. But firstly, you must clear about all these changes which are going to occur at high altitude. Metabolically, there is increased lactate concentration at a give even some maximal workload, while in the chronic response, the decreased submaximal lactate concentration. Regarding the tissue, local tissue, there is increase. In the acutely, there is no response. You can check the gross difference between the acute and chronic regarding the local tissue response. In the acute response, there is no gross change, but later on in the chronic stage, increased capillary density in the local and increased number of mitochondria, increased aerobic enzymes, all these things happening to compensate the decrease in the partial pressure of the oxygen at high altitude. If the patient develop slight sign symptoms, we will label it mild stage. If the sign symptoms become more in severity, then this will be the moderate, and then we can have the severe stage also. But in all these, the first and most important thing, that is the headache. Then we can have the loss of appetite or loss of strength in the limbs. In the moderate stage, again, the first thing is the headache, but added things that are the nausea and vomiting, showing that the condition is going to be worsened than the mild stage. If the patient develops the mild sign symptoms, then it's better that you should avoid the next stage. How? I will tell you later on. In the moderate, don't feel like doing anything, and in the severe stage, more severe headache with the all these things, with the extra fatigue of weakness of the muscle, dizziness, and also the difficult sleep pattern. So these sign symptoms show that the condition is becoming more and more severe. Acclimatization to the low partial pressure of oxygen. This topic includes that when you stay at high altitude for the days, weeks, or years, then your body becomes acclimatized to that atmosphere. Initially, just the physiological changes occur, but with the years, or with the one generation, the next generation, with that the anatomical changes occur, permanent changes, anatomical permanent changes occur in the body of the resident of the high altitudes. So initially just the physiological changes which we have already discussed in previous slides. Now if you stay there for months or for years, then your body is going to have the anatomical changes. That is, I will discuss these things. Great increase in pulmonary ventilation, increased number of red blood cells, increased diffusing capacity of the lungs, increased vascularity of the peripheral tissue, increased ability of the tissue cells to use oxygen despite the low partial pressure of oxygen. All these things show that your body is going to manage it with the time, that when you stay there for months or years. These changes include that are the long term, starting from the weeks to months or years. About this thing, I must clear one more thing at this stage. You are often asked what are the changes which occur at high altitude, and the first and immediate answer comes from the student. Most of the students reply that there is increase in the RBC count. From this slide, you must clear about the answer. Immediate changes does not include the changes regarding the number of the RBC. It takes much more time that kidney manage it. So immediately there is change in the heart rate, in the change in the respiratory rate, but not the number of the RBC. These are the delayed or long-term changes. When you stay there for weeks and for months, years, so it must be clear about it. So long-term changes include the polycythemia and increase in RBC mass and other, that is the increased muscle capillaries, which is the change regarding the anatomy of the blood vessels. Now it is going to be changed slightly, and you can have other also permanent changes. I will tell you later on, but before that you must check this graph. I have taken it from the circulatory unit, and it is included in the control of the blood pressure, but it is included in the hypoxic condition also. In the hypoxic condition occurring at high altitude, the blood pressure is also going to be changed. So all these factors, they are going to affect the hypoxic condition occurring in the body as well. As you can see, what are the changes occurring during the seconds, during minutes, hours and days. From this graph, you must answer the first and immediate response is coming through the peripheral chemoreceptors. Baroreceptors regarding the control of the blood pressure, and chemoreceptors, these are going to check the chemistry of the blood. So they are responsible for bringing the immediate response when you go to high altitude. Rather, you can see the response of the kidney that comes at very late stage within day, and you can see how you are gaining the peak or maximum response within days, weeks, when you fall in the weeks. So after some weeks, after some months, the kidney is going to respond it. So never answer it immediately and not include it in the immediate change. It is very much delayed. The immediate change is coming from mainly the chemoreceptor and the baroreceptors. So now this is the next stage in which the permanent anatomical changes they occur when you stay there for the years or in the resident of the high altitude. The chest size change, high ratio of ventilatory capacity to the body mass, and their hearts which from birth onward pump extra amounts of the cardiac output. So the size of the chest, size of the heart, that is going to be changed. That is, the anatomical permanent changes occur, but just when you stay there for the years. For 1 to 2 generations, these changes occur. Coming to the treatment, somewhat treatment I have already discussed regarding the hypoxic condition. In previous video, you can watch it again, and here I am going to add some other points, especially focusing the high altitude physiology. Do not proceed to high sleeping altitude in the presence of the symptoms. Descend if symptoms do not abate or become worse despite treatment. Descend and treat immediately in the presence of a change in consciousness, ataxia, or pulmonary edema. You may ask, what is ataxia? Ataxia is the abnormal gait. So, no need if there is within the sign symptom remains within range. No need for any specific treatment except to remain hydrated, eat light food, and take adequate rest, and just have a check over your body that all these systems must kept in the normal range. For the mild, moderate, or severe, we can add all these things, plus we can add the medical treatment, especially to the diamox. And you must stop your traveling further. If you develop sign symptoms, you must treat immediately, otherwise the condition become more and more worse, and maybe it will be difficult to control all the signs and symptoms. So it is the first thing that you stop your journey. You must treat your body, and then if you have precautionary treatment, then we can add the medical treatment as well, including the diamox. So with this we complete the high altitude physiology. What are the changes occurring in the body at that in that atmosphere, and how you are going to manage all these. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.